Good evening and welcome to this week's episode of Atlantic Tales, when we travel to Parteen in East Clare to visit Seanchoill Men's Shed. Men's Sheds are non-profit local community organisations that provide a space for social interaction through a range of activities. The movement originated in Australia in the 1980s as a way to improve the health and well-being of older men. The concept soon spread to other countries and led to the establishment of the Irish Men's Shed Association in 2011. The movement has grown rapidly in Ireland, and today there are over 450 sheds registered with the IMSA, with as many as 15,000 men visiting sheds every week. There are 10 men's sheds in Clare, including one at Seanchoill Parteen in the east of the county, where Keith Kiley is chairman. Keith got involved with Seanchoill Men's Shed while recovering from illness, but brings a lot of his own experience and talents to the shed.
The last thing I'd done before becoming long-term sick was computer repairs. That would be my kind of background here, I kind of run the computer side of things here. Always good with my hands. Parents always said, you give Keith a piece of wood, he'll make something for you. Give it to his brother and he'd throw it back at you, So always good with my hands. I always love working with my hands. Probably why I ended up being drawn to the men's sheds, When I went out sick and I fought the cancer, the body was wrecked after the cancer treatment. Chemotherapy can take its toll on people. So I was never able to get through a full day without falling asleep during the day, and I needed something to get me out of the house, keep me going, I found men's sheds.
This shed itself, Seanchoill Men's Shed in Parteen, when and how did it all start?
So we'll take you back to 2017. My sister was talking to me about the men's sheds. She'd heard an article about it or heard something on the radio about it. And she said that there was a meeting happening in the local parish church with the view to setting up a men's shed. So she said, you should go along there, So I said, okay, I'll go along. Check it out, She said, she knew I was good with my hands, so, and she knew I needed something. Actually, I ended up speaking to the neighbour before we went up to it, and he was 82 at the time, and he was looking for something to do, and I was telling him about the men's shed, and he was saying, yeah, his daughter had said it to him as well, and I said, I'll tell you what, I'm going up. I said, I'll let you know what the story is with the meeting, I said, rather than you coming up in the cold, So he said, yeah, that's great, So I went up anyway to the meeting. There was a good amount of people in the meeting in the local church, and who walked in the door? Only Michael. He says, I'm not following you now. He says, I just thought I'd come up myself to see, he says. So Michael is still with us, and he's 88, 89 this year, and he's still thriving, he'll still pick up a brush there and sweep the yard, So 2017 anyway, we needed a place to set up then. So we elected our committee. The GA came on board. One of the ladies setting it up was her passion for her father to open a men's shed. Unfortunately, he never got to see it. So Karen Mulrooney. So she worked in the local doctors, and she was instrumental in setting up the shed. And the GA then gave us a prefab on site in the GA. We started then the following week, and so we started cleaning up that and getting that ready and getting what we needed into that then, So from there, we just grew, more and more people started coming along. Now, we've always had about 20 odd people and maintained about 20 odd people, people come and people go, So it was about a year and a half later, we kind of needed to expand a bit. We needed more workshop space, and the GA didn't have that space for us, they were involved at the moment, at that time, in building their own facility, so they didn't want another prefab on site. So we came up to Tom Buckley above in the Seanchoill Sports Complex, and Tom was very, very open to the fact that we were interested in coming here. So much so that the following week he had the ground cleared and he had gravel put in for us. About a week later then, our container arrived on site. So that was our workshop set up. We were on extension leads for the first couple of weeks until we got power out. Then we happened to be speaking to Michael Kerwin from Limerick Paint Supplies, and he was saying that he had an old prefab, needed a bit of work, he said, a bit of TLC. Now when it arrived on site, we thought, yeah, a bit of TLC. There was a hole in the roof, a hole in the floor, and there was mould running down the walls. But in true shed style, we got stuck in, we ripped up the floor, patched the ceiling, patched the roof, and coated the whole thing so that the mould wouldn't come through, kill off the mould, painted everything up. And you can see today what we have, like, you know, we have a full kitchen, pool tables, computers, and we built our own chairs there. Actually, Amanda passed away there just before Christmas, built all the couches that you see inside. Along with one of the lads, like, you know.
Would you and the other members, Keith, have been aware of men's sheds beforehand and what they did?
Not before the meeting in the church, like, you know. But after that, like, you know, I mean, men's sheds started popping up everywhere, like, you know. A lot of sheds started to pop up around 2017, 2018, like, and even once we were up and running within a year, we had people being sent to us to see how we were up and running, like, you know, and guide them, like. So the Carnarvon shed came out to us and they viewed what we had, like, you know, and at the moment they're still operating out of the Scout Hall, like, you know, which means that they can't actually leave equipment around, and that's the big problem, is that there is no facilities there, like, you know. There should be loads of vacant buildings, but it's trying to get use of them is the problem, like. So I mean, if the council had them, they should be able to kind of lease them out on a short-term or long-term lease, like.
You were very lucky, it seems, that from the very first meeting you were determined to get off the ground.
Oh,
you
yeah.
often hear of meetings taking place and great plans are made and nothing happens.
Mm-hmm.
From your first meeting, you were determined.
Oh yeah, from the first meeting in the church that day to the first meeting on site in the GAA pitch, we were determined to succeed, and we just drove forward and forward and forward, like, you know. And we've never looked back, like, we've never been paused anywhere or stalled or anything, like. We've always had a constant number of around 20 people, like, you know. As I said, people come and go for different reasons, like, you know. Some people get sick, some people just find that the drive is gone for them or whatever, like. I mean, we cover a lot of stuff within the shed. We do gardening, we do woodworking, we do laser cutting, laser engraving, pen making, painting, arts and crafts kind of stuff, like, you know. So we do a lot, and we do a bit of cooking as well. You know, we could do a bit of cooking and baking. Our recent thing there set up before Christmas there was our Friday Fry, and we run that every second Friday without fail, like, you know. And everyone chips in a couple of pence. There's a box in there. You just put in random money. Doesn't matter how much you put in, as long as you put in something, like, you know. And you know, that's become a very good success, like, you know. Now they're talking about moving it to Saturday because they're saying Fridays, you know.
Well, Friday has a nice ring to it.
Yeah, Friday Fry kind of sounds good, like, you know. Saturday Fry doesn't sound the same, like, you know. Yeah, I mean, we've landed on our feet here. We're determined to keep going, like, you know. And you need a strong driving force behind it, like, you know. And I have the passion, I have the time to drive it forward, like, you know. I've been chairman since 2018 and I can't get rid of the job. Every year I try to offer it up, and every year they keep getting voted back in, like, you know. And the lads are saying, like, you have the drive, keep going, you're doing well, like. So that would be the kind of thing, like, we drive forward, we try and keep going.
Other sheds have come here to you to see how you do things. Mm-hmm. When you set up, did you visit a shed or two to get an idea of what they were doing? When
we were starting up, yeah, we visited the Ennisman shed, and at the time they were in a little Foss building, very small, really, really small building, like, you know. And again, they were kind of unsure of where they were going, like, you know. So now, Ennis shed now has grown from strength to strength. They have 300 members or something, because they tied in with Roche when Roche closed down, and Roche gave them a lot of funding and a lot of buildings. We visited other sheds as well. We went into the St. Mary's shed in Limerick and had a look around at them, and just to see what's set up, like, you know. St. Mary's shed does a lot of music and teaches a lot of music, whereas Ennis shed would do welding and gardening and woodworking like ourselves. So various different sheds would do different things, like, you know. We connected with the Doyle lads as well. I had a look at theirs, but they went the opposite direction to us. They fundraised and built their building before opening up. So they had the building when they opened up, whereas when we opened up, we had to get a lend of a building to use.
has to start somewhere, but you work hard at it. Other clubs are only starting out and they may take some time. Clubs learn from each other, sheds learn from each other.
Oh yeah, I'd like to say, you know, shoulder to shoulder, when men talk shoulder to shoulder. Each shed would visit each other shed, like, you know, regularly. Like, you know, I mean, last year alone, we probably had about 7 or 8 visits from different sheds, like, you know, and they'll come in and they'll see what we're up to, and we might go out there. And once a year, the Clare district meets up and the Limerick district meets up in a big meeting organised by the Men's Shed Association, and we exchange ideas, like, you know. I suppose Facebook has linked a lot of us together as well then, like, you know, so we follow each other on Facebook as well, so we post what we're doing, our latest stuff, like, you know.
What age group are you talking about, Keith, and what kind of people are coming and joining the shed?
All kinds of people really come. You know, age category, you're probably talking about, our youngest ever member was 41. I'm 52 next week myself, and we have all the way up to 89. So various different members at various stages in their lives, and a lot of, I wouldn't say a lot, I suppose about 40% of the people are men that have kind of lost their wives along the way, and they're lost, and they're looking for something to do, and they turn up, and we're here, like, you know, and, you know, everybody else here has either had something along the line, whether it be a sickness that the lads can relate to, or lost a wife, or lost a mother or father or whatever, like, you know, and we're all there for each other. That's why we stand shoulder to shoulder, like, you know. We just drive each other on, like, you know. So I mean, chances are, if you come along and say, I've been diagnosed with this, I could direct you to someone within the shed that has been through that, like, you know.
Is that a hugely important part, where maybe a retired gentleman, maybe somebody who is bereaved, has someone to talk to? Might otherwise have been stuck on the couch at home watching television all day, maybe?
Yeah, but that's a big thing, like, you know. And we do have members that come down, and all they do is sit down, drink their tea, have their chat, reminisce and the time, like, you know. But the mental health is a big thing, like, you know. And I mean, we try to encourage people to get involved, obviously, like, you know, and do bits and pieces. And everybody does during the summer and the spring, like, you know. You know, it's nice to get out in the fresh air, like we are today, like, you know, outside in the fresh air, and you know, do a little bit, you know. And even if you don't want to do a bit, have a chat with someone who's doing a bit, and that conversation will make their life a bit easier that day, like, you know.
Having 20 members all the time, surely you'll take more. Maybe if the facility was bigger, you'd have more, or can you take more members in?
We can take another couple of members. We're always looking for new members, like, you know. As I said, people come and go all the time, like. We recently had a member rejoin who had been away from us since 2019. Since before the pandemic, like, you know. He's rejoined again. He actually lives over the road, which is ideal for him, like. But at the time when we moved up here, it wasn't for him, like, you know. He decided to stick more with the GAA side of it. But he's come back to us, like, you know. So we've got returning members, and we're always open for new membership, like, you know. Yeah, members are always welcome to come down and look at the place. You know, you'll meet a friendly face. They'll take you around to show you what's what. They'll tell you what we're doing, like, and give you the paperwork and let you decide, like, you know. But what we encourage people to do is to come down, try it once or twice, you know, sit down, talk to the lads, have a cup of tea with them, find out where they are, find out, is it suitable for you, like. And most people who come down and meet us will never ever leave, like, you know. We had one member who came to us, and he said, like, you know, he says, I've been to a couple of sheds around Limerick, he says, and I can't settle in them. He says, well, I says, hopefully you'll settle here. And that's about 3 years ago now, or 4 years ago. And he's still here, like, you know. So he found solace here in that he couldn't find in other sheds, like, you know. Some sheds can be very musical orientated. Other sheds can be very, you know, we say cars and pool and stuff like that. And some sheds can be woodworking, like, you know, and gardening, like. But I mean, the thing about us was that we have only one rule in the workshop, like, you know, that you're your own safety officer, whereas other sheds would be very, very strict on the carpentry, and some people don't like that. You need to be able to move and do your own thing, like, you know, and not be regimentalized. We try and keep as little rules as possible, like, you know.
Common sense
is a big thing,
course.
like, you know, yeah.
What about financing yourselves, keeping yourselves going? How do you manage that?
We get a lot of help. Recently, last couple of years, we're getting a lot of help from the IMSA in Dublin with a one-off grant that they get through the Irish government. So you'll see the ministers would announce 1.5 million to Irish men's sheds. We get that, and it comes through generally about March, every year. For the rest of it, then we would kind of fundraise. We'd either do a draw, or we'd do collections at the door. We'd say the local Lidl is very good to us. The local Tesco's are good to us as well. So they'll allow us to stand at the door and either sell the product or collect, But two of our biggest ones would be the National Lottery through the HSE. I suppose the last 5-6 years, we've been getting a grant there every year, which is great. We submit the plan that we have for it, and they approve the plan, and we submit the receipts afterwards, and everything comes out then, and the money changes hands. And of course, our local Clare County Council are very good, and the local Limerick Clare Local Development Committee as well. They're very good to us every year as well. They open their grants at the end of January, and we put in for that, and it comes through, and everything is done and dusted by November, grant-wise then,
It must be maybe a small bit disappointing that only 1.5 million can be distributed among all the clubs in Ireland, given the invaluable service and work you do.
Yeah.
Is that disappointing?
It is a little disappointing. I suppose when you look at 1.5 million, I think that was the figure, and you divide that down between a couple of hundred sheds, you're talking about 450 sheds. I don't have the figures, but it's probably around 400, 450 sheds or something like that, But if you divide it down, it's probably only about 3,000 per shed, if that, And 3,000 can go very, very quickly on a project, depending on the scale of the project, you can see here, we're about to build an extension onto our workshop.
Foundation is down?
Yeah, the foundation is down for it, and we're going to build here, but that's going to cost us probably €1,000, €2,000 just to get a basic.
Even the ongoing costs, light, electricity, insurance,
actually,
all the bits and pieces.
We're probably one of the best sheds going for us, or things going for the shed is that Tom wired us into his electricity and his water. Any time that we offer anything to Tom, it's we'll sort it out later, so he's never really taken a penny off us for electricity. So I suppose from that point of view, we're very lucky, Tom's father was given this land, and part of it, I think part of the agreement was that he would give a certain amount to community projects, so us coming in on board was a great thing for that, they've also brought in the local playground as well here, as well, and that land was given to the council as well, or so rented to the council, I think. But so we're very, very lucky here from the point of view that I suppose our overheads are teas, coffees, sugars, running the computers, running the broadband and stuff like that. With very little overheads compared to other sheds. I suppose other sheds struggle with electricity costs and stuff like that. And it can be hard, even just to get the basics, heating and everything, can be an issue,
On a day like today.
On a day like today,
But you were in early this morning getting everything set up for the lads when they start arriving. What about outings, trips? Do you engage in that side of things?
Some of the lads will say they plan a great plan, but nothing gets done. We had a plan 2 years ago, I think it was, to go up the River Shannon on the boats. We had planned as well with the late Paddy Gleeson, who passed away before Christmas, to go to Spike Island, do the Spike Island tour, and possibly on that day as well get the Titanic Museum there in Cove as well, but with Paddy passing now, we're not quite sure where that's going to end up. I think the plan is to get there this summer as a nod to Paddy, A
lot of history down there, a lot of Clare history on Spike Island as well, which I'm sure your members would be delighted to get.
They're really, really interested in it, and they're interested to get down there as well, We had the last couple of years there, we've done outings as well to the local Ireland Crusher. That's massive knowledge to be gained from seeing the structure there.
Incredible story.
An incredible story, like, you know, and some of our members worked there, like, you know, for years. One of our current members of the committee now was there for 20 odd years. I think he was there, like, you know. And again, one of our former members who passed away last year, actually, the famous Mick Mackey, his son Pat Mackey, was years he was in Arnacusha. So we get people from all different walks of life.
Coming up, we'll meet more members of Seanchoill Men's Shed in Parteen as they gather to enjoy their fortnightly Friday Fry. We'll also hear from the man who has provided a site for the men's shed at Seanchoill. Welcome back to Atlantic Tales. The men's shed concept was developed in Australia in the 1980s. While it took several years for the idea to be adopted in Ireland, there are now over 450 men's sheds across the country. Plans to establish a shed in Parteen were first discussed in 2017. When those efforts finally came to fruition, the new Seanchoill Men's Shed set up first in the local GAA club. Later, however, Tom and Nora Buckley, who operate Seanchoill Sports Complex in Parteen, provided a site where the local men's shed set up home permanently.
I was approached there about 2018, 2019, I think. The lads came in to me and they were looking for another venue. So I said, look, no problem. I said, there's a venue there. I did know a bit about the men's shed. It was something I was looking into for a few years. I know what it's about. I know it's about community. And when you're looking at something like a men's shed, you're looking at community. If you look at community now, we had pubs which people would go and gathered and had the chats and went home, and that's all they'd meet from one end of the week to the other. But a men's shed is taking up that vacuum, and it's all about community. So the lads come in here, there's a different variety of lads will come in here with different skill nets. Some lads will just come in and they'll have the cup of coffee. Some lads will go into the shed and they'll do a bit of timber work, and some of the lads will do a bit of metal work or gardening or whatever they want. And it's their little kind of heaven outside of where they are. It breaks the day for them to come here, have the chat, whatever issues or whatever's on their mind, they get it off their chest and they go home better people. I think it works, and it works well, because we have also people that would in the area that might have a chair to fix, and they might come out to the men's shed. Can you fix that for us? And the lads will gather together, fix it, and bring it over. So that's the connectivity with the community in the area. They're involved in so many things as well. We have the tidy towns with Christmas stuff going on. So the lads made sleighs and they made various different items, post boxes and so on and so forth for that, and we gave a Santa Day out to everyone in the community, so they helped out with that. So there's a lot of good things happening here.
They know that they've landed on their feet getting this site.
Yeah.
This is your land. You have other projects going on here as well.
Yeah.
This fits very nicely in with what you're doing, because a lot of what you're doing is community based as well.
What we do is completely community based, and we're completely run by say the community, the ethos of bringing people together. That's what community is. But we just don't have the men's shed. We have various different organisations. We have walking groups, we have drama groups, we have the retirement groups, we have yoga, Pilates, Tigger's Nest, we have ice baths, we have saunas. Then the bigger side of it would be, say, the gym, 18-hole foot golf, the full-size soccer pitch, full-size synthetic pitches, car parks, events like we're probably the first in the area from the Run Clare series, which is the Border Half, which happens every year on December. And we've also various different soccer, festivals of soccer and so on and so forth, which runs, which is great. We have a lot going on, a lot of balls juggling. And of course, like we actually donated the site here for the community for a playground. And then out of that, then we had a coffee shop. We have a coffee shop linked to that as well. It's all about community. It's all about community, because if you don't have the community behind you, you have absolutely nothing without the community. So
it's unlikely, though, that you'd have another landowner in a position to help out a shed like this. The lads here know how lucky they are.
Not many people would do it and they'd run from it, but I'd be totally different. I have a total respect for the older generation that have gone before me. As a young fella, and I suppose we had the old historians up along the road like John O'Grady and John Ryan and my own dad, they stand outside the church for I said a good hour and a half having the chats about the hurling and having the chats about, the politicians and, general stuff. And that was their break. That was their break during the week. So the stories that you heard and told about the area and so on and so forth, it all looped back in me, So I said, wouldn't it be great if people could come, sit down, have a nice cup of coffee, have tea, do whatever they want to, have the old chat and go home, and they feel so much better.
Sean Tracy from Ardnacrusha is one of the original members of Seanchoill Men's Shed and appreciates the value of his local shed.
It has been a great asset for a lot of people around, including myself. I must say it has been a rock for me because my wife at the moment has Alzheimer's, and this is a great break for me to come down and talk to people normally and have a chat and comradeship and whatnot, So it's unbelievable how good this has been, to me personally. Even.
Would you have been aware of men's sheds before you started this one?
Very little, because you see, it was in the infancy stage in Ireland at that stage. There wasn't too many around. We were fairly, I suppose, to be maybe 1 or 2 years, but I would have been involved in adult education and that kind of thing before I was on the VEC and that, so I would have been involved at community level for a while, so I was very anxious for men to get something, because the ladies were very good at coffee mornings and knitting and, I've not been, but men never, I was involved in adult education, we couldn't get men in to take part unless they saw an outcome.
Yes.
They didn't see the social side of it as being meaningful, So that was one of the reasons I would have got involved, So.
And do you remember the early days and the early discussions and all the planning about setting up?
I do, yeah. Oh, yeah. We had to sit down and think about financing and all that, And we had a nice group, and very. They were very active and helpful. So, we started from nothing, really from nothing, just getting together, having a cup of tea and sitting down and having a chat, and then getting a bit of work going and work enjoyment. And some people love the work, and some others only come down to have the cup of tea and have a chat and meet people and hear the news of the locality and whatnot, And oftentimes, it can be very helpful if you've an inquiry about something, you've 9 or 10 people or 12 there, they know what's happening around the place, and
someone will know.
Someone will know. Someone will know.
In the early days, had you big plans, or was it a kind of a step-by-step? You started off very small, as you say.
Yeah, it was a step-by-step. But we were very lucky early on. We got involved in, we were meeting 3 or 4 mornings a week, A lot of the sheds, I believe, might only meet once a week. We're here 5 mornings a week, down again in the evenings again, And nobody has to say they're coming or going. There's no timetable. You come when you're available, you stay away, And if you want to chat with someone, you have a chat and you take them out one side and you talk to them, So it has been a great help that way, great help.
So, morning or evening, pop down if you want?
If you want to.
There'll always be someone here?
Always. And a friendly face.
Friendly face?
Yeah, generally, there's nobody bringing any angst into the place, It's enjoyment. I haven't seen, we have had our, discussions and that, but people, they're coming in a harmonious way, into the place, and that. And some people are very helpful too. They can guide you and help you, and you might bring a bit of your experience into the place, So,
what would you say to someone who might be in a position where they're looking for an outlet but might be afraid to put themselves out there?
Well, the first thing I think is, come down and have a look. There's no one thinking that you're going to be immediately involved, And we do help people. There's people here in this shed that failed in other sheds, that didn't see the relevance or didn't meet the right people that put their hands around their shoulder or whatever, you know. But there's no pressure here. We're not under pressure looking for a big load of members, you know. If someone wants to come down and join us, they're more than welcome. Take their time, come in, take a week at a time or a day at a time and come in and see, does this suit them? Is this what they want, you know? So there's no pressure on anyone.
Chris Doherty is treasurer of Seanchoill Men's Shed. Chris had some time on his hands and, when it was suggested to him, decided to find out more about the shed and join up.
My wife was at Mass one Sunday and there were leaflets, and I was in part-time employment, so kind of a bit bored, not a lot of things to do. So she said, here, join that, get yourself out of the house. So I did, and she's been complaining ever since, like all the wives and partners that have got us to join, that we spend too much time up here. So came up, and at the time we had little equipment. It was mostly kind of just talking and playing darts and games. So I was then elected treasurer. So we started building up funds, and we got some more electrical equipment, starting out with some saws, and then we got a wood turning machine, lathe. And some guy came in one day and said, would anybody be interested in wood turning? Because was sitting there for over a year. So he gave us some lessons, and Keith then went onto the internet and started looking at YouTube, getting how to work it. So he started training a couple of us to do it. I make a couple of bowls and pens and things on the lathe and polish them off.
You're bringing your own expertise to the shed as well, because you are an accountant and you're doing the money side of things as well. Is that difficult, getting the money together and buying what you need?
It is quite difficult, and we have to do a lot of fundraising. Thanks to Lidl, now they give us a space there at least twice a year that we can do a fundraiser or sale of work. The year before last, we did a monster draw, and we went around Westbury, Carrickmead, Arnacrusha, Dunthane, Shannon Banks. Did very, very well with it. The community were excellent in supporting us, and most of the prizes that we had were actually made by people in the men's shed. Sugons, table lamps, some small Sugon toy chairs for kids, and toy teddies. So we quite a lot of prizes, and a couple of the local enterprises had sponsored us with gifts as well, so we were able to put them in, including Lidl again. They had given us 2 barbecue sets. Something you wouldn't want really in October, but
never know.
Something
never know.
You never know, like, you know, with power cuts, that it might be handy just to have them. Fundraising, it can be difficult, seeing that a lot of the lads are quite elderly. You know, they don't really like standing around all day, so we kind of have to take it in shifts to spread it out. We had found one year that we had lost out on a lot of funding because people don't carry cash anymore. Say, whether it was an excuse or not, oh, if you had a card reader, I'd be able to give you. So we went off and we got a card reader, and that even helped us with the draw, because some people, whether they want to use it as an excuse, and we'd say, oh, we have some up, and oh, great, and we do it. We also get grants from Clare County Council, but the unfortunate thing with that is you actually have to have the money first before you can get the grant. So this time of year now there's some grants available, but we have to see, you know, what do we need, and we have a couple of elderly guys, and one guy, he'll be coming back to us. He has been in hospital for close on 2 years. We'll need to get a wheelchair ramp, so hopefully Clare County Council will provide us with the funding so that we can cater for more people who have a disability. Because even some of the elderly guys, just making it up those 2 steps can be a bit of an effort for them. We also have the ramp at our own car park area there, so anyone who is in need of using a walking stick or a frame, they can use that one, and the car park then is near to the shed, so they don't have to be walking any distance.
Coming up, we'll meet more members of the very active Seanchoill Men's Shed in Parteen as they gathered on a chilly morning for their fortnightly Friday Fry. Welcome back to Atlantic Tales. Seanchoill Men's Shed in Parteen in East Clare was established following a meeting in 2017. The shed was first set up in the local GAA club, however it was never destined to be a permanent home. Shed members approached Tom Buckley, who operates the Seanchoill Sports Complex, along with his wife Nora, seeking a new home for their shed. Tom and Nora jumped at the idea and were glad to allocate land for Seanchoill Men's Shed to lay down roots. James Ryan is a local councillor and another Seanchoill Men's Shed member. He brings his own talents as an art teacher to the shed, as well as whatever support he can as a local public representative.
I've been building and making Sugan chairs and stools for a long time, and somehow they became aware of this, so they asked me to come up. And that's a good number of years ago now, so I came up, I started teaching them how to make Sugan chairs, and kind of, I suppose the rest is history really, because I've kind of never left, they've never been able to get rid of me, But yeah, that was actually it, that was as simple as that. So the guys then learned to make Sugan chairs and stools. We've made, I think at this stage, they've made about 30 or 40 chairs and stools. They've sold them and, to raise money for the shed, and they've used them for raffles and things like that as well.
Many people will assume that men's sheds are for older, retired gentlemen. There's actually quite a wide age group here.
There is actually, yeah. I mean, I suppose the youngest being actually possibly me, although there have been a few younger guys than myself in and out as well over the years too, especially because, the men's shed here is very open, so they don't mind people coming in doing a few projects here as well, and also if that benefits the men themselves, if they get to learn something as it goes along too, But yeah, so the age group is from the late 80s right down to the late 30s, early 40s,
You're bringing your own talent, your own skills here, but is it a club where you could learn something yourself as well?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've learned all about laser cutting here because the guys have a laser cutting machine. Never thought about using it. Now, I'm an art teacher by profession, so actually learning about anything new, especially that can make something, make a new piece of visual art, is great for me. So yeah, it's been very good. And actually, in fairness, we've had some very good carpenters here who've been part of the men's shed over the years, even the late Paddy Gleeson, learned lots from that man as well.
Being a member of a group like this, no matter what age you are, how important is that? Maybe it's more important to other people or certain people, but as a community project, how important is it?
It's very important because there's a certain amount of people here who probably don't get too many outlets. I work actually in the communities, and I teach lots and lots of different classes, and a huge amount of the time it's women go to my classes, not men. Men are not so good at getting to classes, but they don't mind going to men's sheds because it's a relaxed atmosphere. A lot of them would have worked in certain areas where they would have used tools in the past and things like that. So everything in here is non-threatening. It's nice and easygoing, and I think that's part of it. But it's an very incredibly important part of the community, simply because so many men at this stage, they don't have other outlets, and it's a nice place. They go to sit down, have a cup of tea, have a chat. Some of them do some work, some of them don't. Some of them just come up for chats and just hang around for the day, and so what? There's nothing wrong with that as well. Some people are deeply interested in building chairs and tables and shelves and lots of different projects, and others just not. They just want to come up for a chat, talk to their friends, and don't forget here, an awful lot of people have made some really good friends here over the years, including myself, and that's really important too. And especially as you get older too, I could imagine, you're going to lose friends over the years. So it's definitely really important to actually keep people active, no matter how old they are.
Do sheds like this, an organisation like this, help men open up? Maybe if they have a health issue, maybe if they've been bereaved or have another issue?
I think it does, because you will find, of course, lots of men here that are possibly widowers. A lot of the time, yes, they do want to talk about what's happened and things like that. And yeah, I think having people with similar experiences and similar backgrounds definitely helps, and it does help people to open up,
Are you happy that the likes of local authorities, Clare County Council, wider agencies appreciate the value of sheds and groups like this?
Well, yeah, I think they most certainly do, because even for here, there's lots and lots of members here, and obviously that's never a bad thing for the community. As a county councillor, as somebody who runs the Tidy Towns, one of the people who runs the Tidy Towns, we use the men's shed sometimes to build stuff for us and things like that. So it's a very important part of the community. Yeah, I think you could do with a little bit more funding in places too. I don't mind saying, and I've tried to push some funding in this way, and I'm going to continue pushing funding because it's an important thing for this community.
From a national level, we talked earlier with Keith about the funding that the Men's Shed Association gets. It's nowhere near enough to fund the hundreds of sheds there are in this country.
Oh God, no. The actual money is quite low. So it does need a lot more money, because there's so many people actually involved in men's sheds across the country. As we said earlier, it's often just the only outlet for people.
John Pearce is a retired bus conductor and lives locally. John is enjoying his time at the men's shed and remembers when and how he first got involved.
About 6 years ago, Keith, who's in charge of the shed now, is the boss man we call him, and we started off below in Parteen GA Club about 6 years ago, and Kevin Williamson was involved as well as an organiser and everything. So we moved over to India 2 or 3 years ago, and I took a break from it. So I'm back again now, and it's a great camaraderie with all the boys in there, and they give you great ideas. If you're stuck for a plumber, I might be a retired plumber, or if you're stuck for a carpenter, we'll tell you where there's one, and people discuss their health issues and all things like that. It's Friday morning here now, so at 11 o'clock we'll be all getting a fry up once a week, and it's beautiful, and to hear all the lads wishing you a happy new year and everything like that, Pat.
But when you got involved yourself first, were you looking for an outlet maybe?
Well, I had other outlets with the GA, but in the winter time the GA would be, the season would be over. So after that then, I does a lot of cycling anyway. I'm not a loner or anything, a good mixer I hope with people. So we started that off, and it's grown out of all proportion now. I'm not sure, is there 28, 32 members here at present, and there's no people joining all the time. And unfortunately during the year we lost 3 or 4 members, and then so anyone that's welcome, they're welcome here, and it's an open house. And we have a lovely tool shed here, and Keith is a very talented man, and we can make or fix, not everything, but most things.
You have a lot going
We have an awful lot here, Pat, and look, there's my house over there. I can cycle over,
As you did this morning, yes?
Yeah, and I was born and reared around here, so I know every blade of grass here, and so when we were children this was wild, it was all rushery landed. It was great for wildlife, hares and rabbits and pheasants and all that. But Tom has made a great job of it here now, and he's all where the pitches are booked out there. And there's a coffee morning, then ladies bring down their children there to the playground. And, it's marvellous.
Would you have been aware though, John, of men's clubs before you joined this group?
I heard of other ones now, because a friend of mine was in one in 6 Mile Bridge, and I think there was another one in Killaloe starting off at around the same time. No, not at all, no. I was a bus conductor now, Pat, in 1968. And I came over here, and Keith said to me, there's a guy inside thinks he knows you. And his name was Harry. And I went in and I said, you're Harry Bedford. It's 55 years since I met him. He knew me from,
wow.
He was the driver of the bus and I was the conductor. So that's the type of people you're going to meet, which is marvellous, There's no age restriction, you can come and go, and people are very helpful to you here. If you were sick or ill in hospital, we go visit them, or sadly, if you pass away, we all go to the funeral, which one of our members died there a month ago, Paddy Gleeson. It was a lovely, that was his last project there. So when the shed is complete, I think the lads decided they're going to call the shed Paddy Gleeson Shed, and it all came in boxes, they're inside. Paddy doing the foundation there now, yeah.
That'll be a nice tribute.
It'll be lovely, yeah, because he was a lovely, lovely man. And he was like a bee. He'd be here 1 minute, inside the shed another minute. He was a retired army man, but he was a carpenter by trade, so he used to tell us fascinating stories about being in Cyprus and in Lebanon and other places where you wing troops go to. So, yeah.
So people from different backgrounds have different stories.
Everyone in there is all different backgrounds. You might have worked in a factory, I might be outdoors, and there's fitters, there's plumbers in there, there's painters, all general staff There's even a retired accountant here who is the treasurer. And there's no inhibitions. All
important talents to have in a shed,
yes, of course. Yes, yeah. And if you wanted anything done all you have to say, lads, if there was a member sick, we'll go down the Culture Lawn, and they make window boxes here then for old people in the summer, and they just give them to them, and they set flowers on them themselves.
Another member of Seanchoill Men's Shed is Jerry O'Shaughnessy. After Jerry's wife passed away, he found himself at home with time on his hands, not knowing what to do, until his daughter mentioned the shed to him.
At that stage I didn't know where they were or what to do, and I came down here to Seanchoill, and I've been here ever since for the last 2 years. I really look forward to it every morning coming down, and it is 9 o'clock to 1, Monday to Friday, and we're here on Tuesdays and Thursday nights at 7 o'clock till 9. And it's very enjoyable down there to meet everyone and have a cup of tea and a chat.
Can you imagine what life might have been like if you didn't have this outlet?
Very isolated. I know I had my son and my daughter, but they've got their own lives and their own jobs, and they can't be with me every minute of the day. So it's basically be kind of stuck at home, go for a walk in Cratloe, and hadn't been much interaction with other people only from Seanchoill Men's Shed.
Do you remember your first visit down?
I do, yeah. It was great. Like, and even with no members that came after me, we all fitted in like a little jigsaw, And the first 2 days, Keith gave me cut out to do a bird box. That was my first project, a bird box.
And would you have been handy?
I would have been handy with woodwork, yeah. Kind of handy with bits and pieces, everything really.
So you've turned your hand to quite a bit.
Yeah.
You turned your hand to cooking this morning because we had the Friday fry.
Yeah,
you were nearly getting everything ready.
Every second Friday we have the Friday feast, it's called. So I nominated to do one Friday, and then I've been doing it ever since. Because my
it's a mighty job, and a lot of very happy men in there. I can
tell you. They all say I do a lovely fry. Yeah.
2 eggs, 2 sausage, 2 rasher, 2 bacon, 2 put 'em on black and white. All stacked like a tower on top of each other in round up good and tight.
How important, Jerry, do you believe an organisation, a shed like this, is to a local community and to individuals?
Good, really. Like we didn't have these places years ago, and when you were old and on your own, like you didn't have much to do really, and mentally it's not great for anyone to be stuck at home. There's only so much of TV you can watch and channels. I don't want to get like that really. They find it very hard to move on, which I kind of deal with it differently. I think if you don't like, you're in trouble. You got to push forward, even though it might be difficult and hard at times, but you have to do it.
Seanchoill Men's Shed has been your outlet.
Oh yeah. When I leave here this evening, like I can't wait till Monday again to come. Really look forward to it. Great bunch of guys, We have the great banter in there, the great chat and everything, That's what makes it great.
The service a men's shed provides to a local community is difficult to quantify. Many members would say that they would be lost without it. It's a safe place for men to chat about issues they might not usually wish to discuss. It's also about the variety of activities and excursions that the group undertakes. The members of Seanchoill Men's Shed in Parteen know the value of the friendship and support they all receive here.
So when you have a group like this, it's an outlet for men to talk to other men. We have problems. A lot of people here have gone through cancer. So if you've been diagnosed with cancer, it's great to be able to talk to one of the lads and they can reassure you that the particular surgery that you're going through is right. They can tell you what the downfalls are in having that surgery. So it's kind of a backup that once you're in a place like this, you'll find that people won't shut up. They will talk and talk and talk. Whereas men are inclined to, in their own individuality, they keep it back to themselves. And the HSC and Irish Heart Foundation, they have paid us a visit on numerous occasions. We got our health checks with the Irish Heart Foundation and the HSC. It was how to keep active in your elderly years. And having Seanchoill Sports Complex here, you have the footwalk here, so the lads can go for a walk. And they say, I'm going for a walk. And you might say, oh, where's your man gone? Just in case anything happened. Whereas if you're doing that at home and you somehow, something may happen to you, you could be at the side of the road and nobody knows. Whereas here, somebody knows you're missing, and if anything happens, they can go and look for you.
Oh, it's very, very important. Very important. Yeah, because otherwise people will be below at home looking out the window and whatever, and no one to talk to. But this is a place where talk is talk, and it's a lovely place to be. You can hear the laughter now coming out of the shed there, Pat. And especially for widowers, it's great to get out and meet other people and have a chat. You can come and go, there's no pressure on you. I think it's great.
I think they can be of great value. We have people coming here with different issues, and we're as helpful as we possibly can with the skills we have and the amount of space we have and whatnot. But it can be a great advantage to a community if they want to use it, like schools and churches and that, because there's a lot of skills here, a lot of skills. So it can be of great help.
I mentioned to a local community, it's a massive asset to the local community. I mean, you wouldn't believe the amount of people who actually message us on Facebook and say, I have an IKEA cabinet I need put together. I don't know where to start. And we say, bring it down to us. We'll put it together. And all we ask is a donation. We don't set prices because we're charity based. We'd run into tax issues if we were charging prices. But what we do is, there's the bucket. Put whatever you think into it, and Once the lads are happy that we're getting a little turnover, just enough to keep us going, that's what it is like, you know. But we will, and we have done various projects. From that point of view, we do a lot for the community, and they do a lot for us as well. Like.